With Secrets of the Obscure, the new expansion for Guild Wars 2 just being released, there has been quite a bit of excitement around the game.
Exciting!
This is something many veterans of the game are happy to see, and a lot of new players alike who are jumping in and giving it the old college try. This is also drawing players back to the game who haven't touched it in a very long time. But what has changed? Why all of a sudden is this a big deal? And why is Guild Wars 2 rapidly becoming the best casual MMORPG in the market? Well, let's dive in. First, let's cover what the game does really well already, and what recent changes have made it better. Guild Wars 2 has a massive emphasis on open world exploration, and no surprise here, this is what quite a few players really enjoy. In fact, the open world is one of the most highlighted reasons of why players still play the game. As you're adventuring with your friends, or solo,
the gang's all here,
you come across real-time events that have you defending a bridge, fighting some baddies, or taking down an ice dragon. Regardless, checking out the thriving and evolving world of the game is one of its best features. Paired with that, Guild Wars 2 has a buy once, play forever model implemented, and it is one of the best in the industry.
Wait, that's illegal.
Quite literally, you can get thousands of hours of gameplay just for a $30 purchase. This adds more content to do when you add in the expansions as well as the Living World seasons. Living World seasons are like mini DLCs that explain the gaps between one expansion to the next. But the fact of not having to pay a sub fee is a really good reason. You'll never feel obligated to play, and honestly, there is nothing like being able to sit down and enjoy a video game without being stressed. Unless you do player versus player.
I expect nothing, and I'm still let down.
Another thing that Guild Wars 2 really does well is, of course, going to be their gems shop. So with many different games, there is usually an in-game cash shop where you spend your hard-earned real-life money for some type of currency inside of the game. Now with Guild Wars 2, one of the best reasons that this game has been able to stay so long, and probably 95% of what it's financed for, is this cash shop.
Hi again. It's me.
Now, Guild Wars 2 does something really well, which is allowing you to trade your in-game currency, so gold, for gems. So in a sense, you can purchase just about everything that is on the gem store, which are mostly cosmetic or quality of life items, through just grinding out in-game. And that is a feature that a lot of players really enjoy. Myself personally, I like being able to just work for something and not have to spend my money. If I'm doing something passively and I'm earning gold, now I can take those and buy gems to buy a really cool glider skin, or a new mount skin, or a new bank tab.
Daddy, chill.
These little quality of life things that you can work towards that you don't have to pay any money for. Lastly, they of course have the best character progression model in all casual MMORPGs out there. Basically, once you earn a piece of gear, you are set. The gear never gets outdated, it's never behind on stats or requires upgrades. Once you earn it, the value stays forever, and even then, exotic gear, which is the tier directly below Ascended and Legendary, which are the best, exotic gear is fairly easy and cheap to acquire, meaning your stat difference will not really be massive between the two different tiers.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me.
If you only want the basic gear, there you go. You can handle everything that this game can throw at you, except for high tier fractals, that's another story. But if you want to work harder for better gear, well, here's this path. Now let's talk about the recent changes that have improved this great content. With Secrets of the Obscure, ArenaNet, the developer of the game, has had a huge emphasis on open world exploration, and now will be offering legendary armor, which is the best gear in-game as well as the best quality of life items that you can have, by completing open world content. You no longer are required to do structured PvP, world versus world, or raids to earn legendary items, which lead into that casual mindset. I don't want to have to group up and grind for hours in instance content. I just want to pick up and play.
Wow, this has just been such a pleasure. I'm such a lucky boy.
One of the coolest new changes is the Wizard's Vault. The Wizard's Vault is essentially changing the way that dailies are for Guild Wars 2. You would log in and you would get the daily login reward, which had its own specific path. That's being removed, but now it is essentially giving us a way to earn specific items and specific gear and choose what we are going to be working towards just by getting in and doing these baseline progressions. So every day there will be one objective for the day to be logging in. This gives us some of the astral acclaim, which is the new in-game currency.
Lisa,
I want some more.
And on top of that, there will be weekly objectives for you to do, which could be completing a strike mission, or doing a jumping puzzle, or defeating a couple of people in World versus World. And these rotate weekly. Now, the idea of it is that even if you don't earn that specific item that you are working towards in the Wizard's Vault within that quarter, which every quarter the game will update and then offer new exclusive rewards, all of the items that were in there are going to just be moved to the Legacy Vault, which means that it is not necessarily out of reach and you didn't need to have to log in. You could earn the Astral Acclaim and then just choose that particular item that you were after that you didn't get to in time before it got moved to the Legacy Vault and be good to go. It essentially is there for you to earn whenever you want. One of the key features, one of the key currencies in-game, of course, gold, laurels, mystic coins, all of these in-game currencies that were just originally tied to the daily logins will now be available by purchase for this Astral Acclaim. So say that you're working on a legendary item and you need to have a whole bunch of mystic coins. Well, now you can go ahead and earn them and pick them out of your Astral Acclaim item choices. So essentially, it's just a rework, but it's rewarding you more so for just your daily efforts. And some of the events you only have to do once a week. And then on top of that, if you don't have time to play for a couple of months and you come back and, man, I really wish I could have gotten that cool skin or those cool items, you can go and purchase them after the fact, and it's such a breath of fresh air for casual players. Lastly, one of the biggest changes and one of the most well received is the change towards their sky scale mount.
Yes! Yes!
Mounts were introduced in the Path of Fire expansion, the second expansion tied to Guild Wars 2. And the Sky Scale is one of only 2 flying mounts that are in the game, aside along with the Griffin. The Sky Scale was only available to those who own that original Path of Fire expansion, as well as the Living World Season 4 DLC. Now with Secrets of the Obscure, you can unlock your Sky Scale that way, the old way, as well as being able to lock it in Secrets of the Obscure, and the new way is significantly faster. It's a streamlined method.
Perfect.
And all the while you're working towards this in the new expansion, you'll be able to rent a Sky Scale, have it with you and use during all these different events and everything that's tied with the expansion, and then it will be permanently added to your account once you actually unlock it fully. The Sky Scale has been a burden for many players who didn't want to have to grind for this quality of life mount. It's not necessary, but it makes things a heck of a lot easier. Now with this expansion offering a faster way to unlock it and take to the skies, it's incredible. I think it also should be mentioned that this does tie into the expansion actually requiring the Sky Scale, and that's the main method of travel, but that's for a different story. But why is this important? Well, I think that we have realized that the heyday of MMORPGs is behind us. The late 2000s and the early 2010s, where everyone was playing an MMO, is now done. And as such, MMOs are considered more of a smaller genre in gaming overall. Now, of course, if you compare this to every FPS that's out there, you see what we're talking about. And the truth is that younger players are just not that interested into these games as older veterans once were. This change is important because this is showing Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet leaning into the aging of their audience. Many players for Guild Wars 2 have full-time jobs, families, hobbies, and more, which makes the casual gaming experience much more important.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
And even from that, many players love the idea of working towards a goal, building something with their own hands day after day, and then creating something in-game that is either a way to have fun or just decompress. The point being, with the changes made in the new expansion and the quality of life and ease of access for the endgame content and collections in Guild Wars 2, this has been vastly improved for those of us who, well, to put plainly, just don't have a whole lot of time to play. The whole Caffeinated Dad isn't just a fun name that I gave myself. I have 3 young kids. I don't get a full night's sleep anymore, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy for it. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to sit down and play some video games without having to be stressed out and rush myself to keep up, or feel obligated to log in. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 looks fantastic, and a lot of people are playing it and enjoying the game. But if I were paying a subscription for this game for Guild Wars 2, I would feel obligated to play. I'd feel crappy knowing that I'm already paying money for a video game, so why the heck am I not playing it? I'm wasting my money. And unfortunately, that's a mindset that I, and I'm sure quite a few players actually still have. These changes are massive because they are keeping the player's experience and the respect of their time at the forefront of the efforts. Bravo. But seriously, how does this all make Guild Wars 2 the best casual MMORPG out there? What makes it different? How does this game offer more to the player than other MMO experiences? Well, I think if you've watched a lot of other MMORPGs that have come out recently, or even other storied games, Guild Wars 2 has remained starkly the most consistent.
Hold up.
World of Warcraft has seen tons of ups and downs, and now it is seeing a sharp decline, especially with the kind of heyday of Dragonflight fading. Final Fantasy still retains a strong player base, and they have a new expansion on the horizons, which is pretty exciting. However, the subscription model for the game has many players turned off of just even committing, myself included. To be fair though, they are also allowing essentially all the previous expansions to be included in the new free-to-play model, which is pretty awesome. New World is still alive? The game has seen massive improvements since its release, but it's hard to shake first impressions. A lot of players are still sour about how boring the game was, but it has improved over time. Paired with that, Elder Scrolls Online has massively improved since its launch and is actually quite fun to play. They recently had all the expansions and content on sale for only $40. I mean, you can't beat it. I even played a couple of levels and enjoyed myself. Each game has had its ups and downs, but Guild Wars 2 for its entire lifetime has remained the most consistent compared to MMOs. Steadily, it has retained players, brought new players in, and never punished them for wanting to explore and try other games. And now, even better, NCSoft, the publisher of Guild Wars 2, has realized that the game is thriving despite their financial, we'll say, negligence. They have turned their efforts towards Guild Wars 2, this great game, and have gone all in, putting all the chips behind this great title. But none of that matters. Truly, it does not.
Wait a minute.
The best reason for this casual MMORPG to still be standing and why it stands out in the industry is because of its great community. Personally, as a content creator, I will be the first to admit I have made errors, but the community has always shown their support for me and their game that they love. They understand how great this game is, and they want to share that experience with other players, new players who are just getting their legs. Recently, when there was an abundance of new players coming into the game, veteran players hung out in starting zones to assist new players who may have questions, who needed help. What kind of player base would do that except for those who love the game and want people to have a good time with them? The game does not punish you for picking it up and putting it down whenever you want to. And when you do want to play, the community is ready to assist you on every step of the way. It is why I create content for this game. There is nothing like it, and I firmly believe that. If all of this has interested you and you're curious of trying out the game, click this video here, which will help you with a quick overview of all the classes and how you can choose the right one for you. Stay caffeinated, folks.